My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Folks, we've got a very interesting episode, very different episode for you here today because my special guest, David Lapp, zooming in from Pennsylvania. If you're watching the video, you can tell David's got a particular kind of look, and that's because he's got a particular kind of background. In fact, David and his family grew up Amish and are still very, very religiously focused. Obviously not following the Amish rules 100% because we're zooming in here today, so something's a little different there. But why we've got David on the call is because real estate is a big part of their ministry, and they are really, really focused on helping out with food insecurity, which is a huge problem, not just in Pennsylvania, not just in the United States. It is in Canada. It is in pretty much everywhere I know of in the Western world. Food insecurity, food wastage, helping people out with food banks. And David does that with a combination of charity as well as real estate. So David, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Good to be here. Thank you.
So usually, I say, David, let's not spend too much time on the backstory, but yours is so different. I think we do have to spend a little bit of time there. So can you give us the 30,000-foot perspective of who you guys are and how you got to be doing what you're doing here today?
Yeah. So I grew up older Amish, horse and buggy, grew up on a dairy farm. And when I was 13, we moved to Indiana for cheaper farmland. In 2005, we were excommunicated from the Amish church. My wife and I, we had been on a journey with God, and what we were experiencing wasn't making sense to our leaders, and we were no longer able to be a part of the religious church there. And moved back to Pennsylvania at that point, and there was 5 couples of us really close together at that time, and we started Light of Hope Ministries more as a counseling ministry and a church. Out of that, we had a need for food for our own families. Started hearing about the opportunity of large-scale food waste and how the large corporations have semi-truckloads of food available to donate, but they don't want to deal with 50 organizations every day. Then you have the nonprofit that needs 10 boxes of that semi-truckload, but if you don't take the whole load, they get none of it. And that disconnect, simply because of volume. And so we set out to build an organization to bridge the gap between the large-scale donation and the nonprofit that needs whatever volume of that donation. 2026.
So you guys are kind of like the middlemen in that situation, right?
Yeah, we are logistics and distribution, connecting large-scale donations to food banks.
Okay.
Last year, we had over 1,700 nonprofits that we served, over 200 corporations that we received from, a little over 26 million pounds of food. We do the distribution logistics in between.
That is mind-boggling. So give us a snapshot of what that looks like, boots on the ground, because I believe you started in your garage. You ain't doing that from your garage anymore, that's for sure. So
yeah,
what does it look like?
So we started in a 3-car garage in 2006. In 2010, we moved into our first warehouse and committed to packing 7 boxes a week for a local pastor. And right now, we have a team of about 115 staff that are paid staff. We see about 1,300 volunteers a week that are sorting food, packing boxes, truck drivers. We have to operate just like any other business. And if there's something that a volunteer has expertise in, they're willing to put their expertise to work as a volunteer. We like to put them to work there because if they got skills, we want to maximize their skills. Just an example of that is we had a concreting crew in here one day. They were packing Brussels sprouts. And our volunteer coordinator overheard them say, I wonder if we have any concrete work that needs to be done. They would much rather be pouring concrete than packing Brussels sprouts. So rather than packing Brussels sprouts, they built us a poured wall. Now, if you look at the value, of their efforts, a poured wall given to the minister having Brussels. Now, I'm not saying it's not important to pack Brussels sprouts, but if you have skills that we can put to work, we want to put them to work.
Yeah. And plus, they probably had a heck of a lot more fun doing the concrete work than packing Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got 100 and some employees, over 1,000 volunteers helping one way or the other. Look, how many square feet of warehouse space do you guys currently have?
Currently, we are in 5 locations, 4 here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and then 1 in Campbellsville, Kentucky, for a combined somewhere 110, 120,000 square foot total space combined. Probably about a third of that is refrigerated. We do a lot of cold storage. So yeah, there's, it takes some pretty significant warehouse capacity. So our model is acquiring the food and then sorting, packing it. We do a lot of that work through volunteers. And then we have our food selection center where nonprofits can come in. We're open 6 days a week. Anything they see on display, any volume they can use. We don't buy food. We don't sell food. We are distribution logistics. So the nonprofits pay us 39 cents a pound handling fee to cover our costs to get that food to them. That way we can operate completely independent of government funding. We're totally privately funded, and we're able to, empower organizations to serve their community at a different level than we would be dependent on government funding. So that's
where do those organizations tend to get their money to pay for the services?
So, the church food pantry, they would have a budget from the church that they can use to fund their pantry. So we have, if you have 1,700 organizations that each raise $1,000 a month, that's a lot of money pooled together that we can then, as a community, we can steward these resources and get it out to people in need.
No, that makes it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com.
So obviously you are filling a huge gap. Like, how big is the population? I think you said you got 4 centers around Lancaster County. Like, what's the population of that area that's needing all of these services? That's huge.
Well, our focus is not serving people in need directly. Our focus is serving the organizations that are serving the people in need. Yeah. But so we a couple of years ago, we took a step back and said, okay, what's the opportunity here? Mm-hmm. And what we're seeing is the welfare system of America needs some pretty drastic help. Mm-hmm. We believe the church should be taking care of our communities, not the government. We think it's wrong that 5 people in D.C. a couple months ago had the power to shut down support to 52 million people.
Yeah,
and we're looking at that and saying, how can we utilize a resource that's being wasted? We live in a nation that wastes a semi-truckload of food every 13 seconds. There is no food shortage. The question is, how much of that food can we utilize? And the disconnect being, we have to take volume, hassle-free, fast. If we can take volume, hassle-free, fast, there is almost an unlimited amount of free food out there. But we have to get it off the dock when the donor wants to get rid of it, in the volume they want to get rid of it. And then that's why we need the warehouse space so we can cushion that donation by getting it out of their way and then feeding it out to the nonprofits that are serving our communities. So our 10-year vision is to scale nationally, where we have a food selection center in every city of America with a population of 250,000 or more. Now, we don't even know if that's possible or not to grow that fast, but that's what we're shooting for. That's what we believe God called us to do, and that's what we're pushing into. On the back end of that, so 88 food selection centers. These selection centers are 40 to 50,000 square foot. I don't know if you have Costco up there in Canada, but in Pennsylvania, we have a Costco model where they set out pallets of food. You go through, you pick it right off the pallet. That's more our model, where we don't have as many storage shelves as we have pallets setting out. Organizations take it right off the pallet. So our food selection centers, 10-year goal, 88 food selection centers, and probably around 4 million square foot of warehouse space on the back end to support that. That's what we're shooting for.
So the real estate side of things, correct me if I'm wrong, would be around the warehouse space. You guys like to own your own land, own your own warehouses versus renting. Is that correct?
So what we did last year is we set up a sister entity to Blessings of Hope. It's called Hope RE Funding, for Hope Real Estate Funding, to raise the capital for the real estate needs for Blessings of Hope. So we're doing a 506C offering, accredited investors only. It's a $250,000 minimum investment that we're offering a 6% return on a straight debt investment. Everything's nonprofit, so we can't offer equity, but we can do what we're looking at is, so last number of years we were looking at what does it look like to scale? And, just going out and leasing warehouses would sort of make sense, but then you're dealing with landlords, rent increases, you're putting a pretty significant investment into, adding refrigeration to a building that we don't own, which wasn't really a great idea. We talked about just, having bank financing, traditional financing nothing was really clicking. So about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we came up with the idea about private capital and how we could put private capital to work for a greater cause. Now, everything's nonprofit, so we could do donations for the real estate, but we are not limited to donations. We can also do investments. So we have a full PPM around that. If somebody wants to do an investment, be happy to answer any questions around that. But this is for a real estate fund that will then acquire real estate to lease it to Blessings of Hope. And Blessings of Hope makes a lease payment based on a 25-year amortization. So in 25 years, Blessings of Hope will be paying off the property back to the sister entity. So it's all, it's all funded within, or it's all like its own economy, if you will, where we control the real estate for our own needs, but our model supports that lease payment.
So as you're doing your own lease to own process with that, that's smart, David. Yeah, I like that idea. Very, very cool. So to date, who have typically been your main investors in the fund?
So in the fund, the main investors will be, we recognize that we're not your most competitive fund out there as far as a return.
Yeah.
Our main investors are more people that have money in a CD earning 3-4% interest. Retirement capital where we had somebody said, he has $1 million in a CD earning 4% interest. He said, "Are you telling me?" And he also said him and his wife are planning on living off the interest the rest of their life and then donating that principal in their will. He said, "Are you telling me I could put that money into your fund? I could watch it work the rest of my life. I could still get my 4% interest. And then we would donate the principal in our will." Now that's a home run. That I understand.
Well, not only he's not even getting 4%, he's getting a 6%. He's getting 50% more.
No, but he only wants 4%. We're offering 6. He only wants 4. But what I'm saying is that type of capital is really what we're looking for. Donor advised fund capital is another thing that we can, if you don't want to donate it to the fund, you can loan it to the fund, and then we pay it back to your donor advised fund, just like any other investment. We do that through the Impact Foundation, but we're all about getting creative. We have some pretty creative minds on our team, and if it makes sense for both parties and it's legal, let's go for it.
Yeah, very, very cool. David, this is fascinating. Congratulations on what you've done in a relatively short period of time, and what the aspirations are, what the goals are. That's huge. And the service that you are bringing to the communities that you're in, the service that you're bringing to, well, pretty much everybody. I mean, these corporations that are just, wasting so much food and having to truck that out to landfill, and just, it must drive them nuts watching all that good waste. Providing them with a way to donate that. There's probably some sort of tax breaks involved for them for doing that as well. And then the end user, well, not even the end user, but the charitable organization, the food bank or what have you, having access to so much more than they could get on their own. And then at the end of the day, the end user having far more variety at their local food bank, that is huge. And how you've tied this all in with real estate and warehouses and now you guys are very, very creative. So good on you. So, hey, David, I'm sure there's going to be some people interested in connecting with you. What's the best way for them to do that?
So connecting with me personally, dlapp7.com, DLAPP7, the number 7.com. Is my story on it personally. It has links to our different sites that I'm involved in. I'm what they call a serial entrepreneur, so I got my fingers in multiple things. All my social handles are there. I do a weekly podcast myself live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So yeah, feel free to follow me, check it out, shoot me a message. Happy to connect.
Awesome. David, thanks so much for being on the show. It's been a lot of fun. Very, very interesting interview. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, everybody, take care. We'll talk to you on the next one.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.